touch my tail? No.
Why not?
Alan, our first limited S-rank agent in Zenless 0, is a formidable ice attacker that has tons of crazy damage stored built in, including a 100% critical damage boost toward her basic attack. When utilized effectively, she has the potential to unleash some of the highest DPS in the game right now, while also being extremely easy to build due to her built-in buffs. Today, we'll dive into the important part of her kit and look at the best way to play her. We'll also look at her build options and the different team comps you can put her in. To start things off, let's look at the most important part of Alan's kit, Flash Freeze. Flash Freeze is a special resource that Alan can use to enhance her basic attacks, storing up to 6 charges at a time. The amount of Flash Freeze she's currently holding is shown right below her HP bar, and the blade of her weapon will also be encased in ice when she holds at least 1 charge. If she uses her basic attack while having charges of Flash Freeze, the basic attack will consume Flash Freeze charges and have its attribute changed to ice. The enhanced version of her basic attack has almost double the multiplier of its base version, and her core passive will give it additional 50% to 100% critical damage based on the level. And depending on the situation, you can hold down the third hit of her basic attack to extend its duration, dealing up to around 60% more damage. With that being said, how does Alan generate Flash Freeze? To generate Flash Freeze, Alan first needs to enter her roaming mode, which is an enhanced version of dashing only Alan has. You can enter roaming by either double tapping or holding down the dodge button. In this mode, Alan will use a different dash attack. If you just tap the attack button here, the attack will generate 1 Flash Freeze on hit, but if you hold the attack button to charge the attack, it will instead generate 3 Flash Freeze. The charged version of this attack will also benefit from the critical damage boost from her core passive, making it more worthwhile to use. The charge speed of this attack can be accelerated with Quick Charge. There are 2 methods to obtain a Quick Charge, and it will last up to 5 seconds after she obtains it. She can acquire it through a perfect dodge, and she can also acquire it through her quick assist. With that being said, there are a bit of nuance with her dodge counter and quick assist. Both her dodge counter and quick assist look exactly like her dash attack during roaming mode, but these attacks can't actually generate Flash Freeze, nor can they be charged. To immediately utilize the quick charge and generate Flash Freeze from a perfect dodge, you'll need to either hold the dodge button or tap it again to enter the roaming mode first. As for the quick assist, you can immediately enter roaming mode by holding down the movement stick before triggering it. Her EX special is also very important. There are 2 parts to her EX special. After the initial tail sweep, using her EX special again will activate Shark Nami, which deals roughly 50% more damage than the first part and hits in a much larger area. But more importantly, both versions of her EX special give her 1 charge of Flash Freeze and chain right into the third hit of her enhanced basic attack, which is the hardest hitting part. Her additional ability will boost her damage even further, and you should always activate the additional ability on your DPS. It gives her a 3% damage bonus for 10 seconds whenever she deals size damage to enemy for up to 30% after 10 stacks. The duration will refresh every time this passive triggers, which gives it practically 100% time as long as she's on the field. Just make sure it's fully activated before using her ultimate. For the upgrading priority, the most important part of her kit is of course her basic attack and the core passive, followed up by her dodge, which is responsible for roam charge attack and chain attack for higher burst. Her assist is of the lowest priority, as for most of the teams, she won't be the one doing parries. The dupe system in this game is officially called Mindscape Cinema, and I will be calling them C1, C2 for now. Alan's C1 has 2 parts. Her enhanced dash attack will now generate 3 stacks of Flash Freeze instead of 1, and the charge version will now generate 6 stacks instead of 3. Additionally, each time she spends a Flash Freeze charge, she will gain 2% critical rate for 15 seconds, up to 6 times. Her C2 also has 2 parts and focuses on boosting the damage of her EX special attack. It gives both of her EX special 20% bonus crit damage for each Flash Freeze charge she has, up to 60% after charges. It gives both of her EX specials 20% bonus critical damage for each Flash Freeze charge she has, for up to 60% after charges. And additionally, the third action of her basic attack can now change into the second part of EX special, which deals around 50% more damage than the first part. Her C4 is honestly pretty trash by itself. It gives her 6 Flash Freeze charges, quick charges, and 4 energy whenever a squad member freezes or stuns an enemy, with 10-second cooldown on the energy. It doesn't actually alter much of her attack patterns, and you don't really need the quick charge after she gained that 6 flash charges anyway, since it would just expire before she could even finish her combos. With that being said, her C6 is actually pretty good. Her C6 gives her 20% penetration ratio and a special stack called Feast begins whenever she uses her EX special, chain attack, or gain a quick charge. If you use the charged roam attack with 3 stacks of the Feast begins, the charge attack will deal 250% of its original damage. This brings power to the same level as her skills and basic attacks. As for the 20% penetration, if you're not building penetration on her specifically, it converts to roughly 15% damage increase while it's active. Out of all the Mindscape cinemas, I think the biggest value lies within her C1 and C2, and even then I highly suggest against pulling for dupes at the moment, because from my experience with Hoyoverse games specifically, we will only start to see what real impactful Mindscape cinema looks like after maybe version 1.4. For W engine, her signature weapon that will be rated up with her is the best in slot. At max level, it has 24% crit rate as the secondary stats and also grant her 25% ice damage bonus. Additionally, it grants her 10% more crit rate for 8 seconds whenever she uses the basic attack and another 10% crit rate for 15 seconds whenever she uses her dash attack. You can start Alan's combo with a dash attack instead of a regular basic attack and have 100% uptime on the passive. Combining this 20% crit rate with the 24% crit rate on his secondary stats and also 19.4% crit rate from Alan's base stats plus core passive, you are now looking at 63.4% crit rate without any drive discs. And with her C1, we are now looking at 75.4% crit rate. While her signature W engine is pretty ridiculous, not everyone will be able to get it. For replacement, both Nekomata and Soldier 11's W engine can fit her pretty well. Soldier 11's W engine provides attack to her whenever she hits an enemy with basic attack, which is pretty much 100% uptime for Alan. Alan also already covered tons of different multipliers, so attack is actually a pretty good stats for her. While Alan can enjoy the physical damage bonus Nekomata's W engine provides, she does benefit greatly from the crit rate secondary stats, and she will also benefit from the damage bonus for back attack pretty easily since her third basic attack will dash through the enemy. For A rank, attack specialty W engine from the paid battle pass is the best, which again provide crit rate for secondary stats, and if you're completely free to play and have none of them as an option, you can use straight Superstar or Starlight engine. For her drive disc, Polar Metal is perfect for her as it provides bonus ice damage and further boosts the power of her basic attack and dash attack with the 4-piece bonus. You will most likely be using Soulkaku with Alan, so freezing an enemy shouldn't be too difficult to trigger, which allow her to gain even more damage bonus. For the 2-piece, the consideration could be Woodpecker Electro if you don't have her signature weapon or C1, Hormone Punk if you already have enough crit rate, or Puffer Electro only if you're running her with Penetration Team, which we will talk more about in the team section. For main stats, you want either crit rate or crit damage for the slot 4, again depending on how much crit rate you end up having with her and her W engine. Ice damage for slot 5 or penetration ratio for penetration build, and attack percentage for slot 6. And for sub stats, it's best to prioritize crit damage and attack percentage first, with the crit rate being situational on her. Now that you have a good idea on how her kit works and what her builds are, let's talk about her playstyle. For most part, especially once you reach the endgame, you will rarely have DPS on field when enemy are not stunned, as the day's efficiency gap between the stun character and the DPS character grows significantly. So with that, Alan's focus is to do as much damage during the stagger window as possible. There are in general 2 combos you're looking to do. The first one is of course the triple enhanced basic attack. And if Alan has enough energy, the EX special into third attack combo. The EX special into third attack combo only deals slightly more damage than the base combo, but it also applies significantly more ice anomaly onto the enemy, which help her proccing the additional damage bonus on Polar Metal. And make sure to use her dash attack to start her basic combo if you're using her signature weapon. If during stagger window I'll end up having excessive amount of energy, but enemy's stagger period is short and won't last through the entire combo, consider doing double EX combo to increase the burst damage. And another important thing to keep in mind is that while her ultimate is nothing special, it deals a huge amount of burst damage. Try to activate every buff you can before using it, including the W engine passive, Shatter for the Polar Metal and damage bonus from her additional ability, and also the Mindscape cinemas if you have them unlocked. So far, we've been mostly talking about Alan's solo, but now let's put her into teams. Her best team is of course the Mono Ice team with Lekiang and Soulkaku. Lekiang has an extremely good day Daze application and will quickly stun enemies. He also reduced enemies' ice damage resistance by 25% when hitting them with his EX special, which is basically just a 25% damage increase overall for a whopping 30 seconds. And since he will be activating his active ability in this team, he will also further increase enemies' stun multiplier by 35%, further increasing Alan's DPS during the damage window. And Sokaku is a support that's pretty much made for Ellen. On top of having easily accessible trigger to quick assist, thanks to her Frost Banner mechanic, she also increased team's attack by up to 500 with her core passive, and the team's ice damage by 20% with her additional ability. All you'll have to do is to bring her on field whenever she has enough energy to use her skill 3 times, before holding her skill to transfer the buff to Ellen. With that being said, when enemies close to stagger, you should try to store 3 charges of Vortex on Sokaku before triggering the chain attack, so you can use it right before Ellen to maximize the buff duration. It is however okay to start your chain attack with Sokaku, as long as Ellen is the last agent to use QTE, she will be the one with the attack buff. Also, one more benefit of this Mono Ice team is that they will trigger freeze pretty regularly, which will stop the Daze bar from decreasing for a bit, trigger a large damage on Shatter, and increase the critical damage enemy take. You can also consider running a penetration team with her. Reina and Ellen are both from the same faction, which help Ellen activate her faction bonus, and you can reach up to 62% penetration without her C6 and 82% penetration with it. For reference, based on CP3 data, when using level 60 agent against level 70 enemies, 62% penetration is around 64% damage increase, and 82% penetration is around 107% damage increase. This is especially good since Ellen already has tons of different multipliers built into her kit that reduce the return from damage bonus and crit damage to begin with. If you don't have access to Lekyang, you can still just put any other stun character on the team. It is very important to have a stun agent for most teams at the moment, as again, the Daze efficiency gap is very high between dedicated stun agents and attack agents. For Bamboo, the S-Rank Baller is a great pick as it will periodically provide additional energy to the team. The S-Rank Shark Bull and A-Rank Penguin Bull is also a good pick for those who are not running Lekyang as a stun unit. Those two Bamboo will help trigger the freeze on enemy during the chain attack to activate Polar Metal's second bonus. As a first limited S-Rank attack agent, Ellen is a great DPS that doesn't require much investment. You can get a free copy of her support Sokaku from Shield Defense, and she's also read up on her banner. Getting her early on will make clearing content significantly easier, especially if you also get your hand on Lekyang, but she's a great unit even without him. But yeah, that's all for Ellen. I hope you enjoyed this improved version of Ellen's guide, and if you have any suggestion regarding the format, feel free to leave a comment down below. This has been SteamBandX, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.